तो यानी कि सुनीता के साथ तेरा तो कोर्स पूरा है।
हाँ, मेरी नहीं, वो सुनीता दीदी की और अनुराधा मैम की।
दोनों की करना है। नहीं मांगते तो ठीक है सुनीता सुनीता के लिए
बच्चे ही बता रहे थे।
बस डिपार्टमेंट में जब ये चीजें होनी शुरू हो जाए ना तो समझ लो बहुत नुकसान हो गया।
जी मैम।
क्योंकि कोई भी किसी की भी करा दो।
हम्म।
हेलो हेलो।
With the permission of Dr. SP sir, may I start now?
Ma'am, I think wait 2 minutes.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone.
गुड आफ्टरनून सर।
गुड आफ्टरनून सर।
I would request everyone, please switch on your videos.
गुड आफ्टरनून सर।
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon.
Very good afternoon, sir. Video is, I think, locked from your side.
Ma'am, आपका तो होना चाहिए.
नहीं.
Now, ma'am, you are co-host now. You can adjust.
Now it's okay, sir. Good
Okay.
afternoon.
All participants, please open your videos. अभी फुल स्क्रीन वीडियो ऑन नहीं हुआ. Sarabjit ma'am, with your kind permission, should we start? now?
Sure, sure, sir, please.
Okay, Vishakha ma'am, please.
Good afternoon and a very warm welcome to everyone. On behalf of Mahavir University, Meerut, I am Vishakha, Assistant Professor, Faculty of Commerce and Management. Feel truly honored to welcome all distinguished guests and respected faculty members, our esteemed resource person, and all the participants for joining us from across the country on this 10-day national workshop. We are on the second day. We are delighted to have your gracious presence as we begin this academic journey together on that promised knowledge, insight, and meaningful learning. To start with this workshop, I would like to request SP Sir to please begin this workshop with Saraswati Vandana. Over to you, sir.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
शारदे माँ, हे शारदे माँ, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ।
हे शारदे माँ, हे शारदे माँ, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ। हे शारदे माँ।
स्वर की देवी ये संगीत तुझसे, हर शब्द तेरा, हर गीत तुझसे।
तू स्वर की देवी ये संगीत तुझसे, हर शब्द तेरा, हर गीत तुझसे।
हम हैं अकेले, हम हैं अधूरे, तेरी शरण में हमें प्यार दे माँ।
हम हैं अकेले, हम हैं अधूरे, तेरी शरण में हमें प्यार दे माँ। हे शारदे माँ, हे शारदे माँ, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ। हे शारदे माँ। मुनियों ने समझी, गुणियों ने जानी, संतों की भाषा, आगम की वाणी।
मुनियों ने समझी, गुणियों ने जानी, संतों की भाषा, गम की वाणी।
हम भी तो समझे, हम भी तो जाने, विद्या का हमको अधिकार दे माँ।
हम भी तो समझे, हम भी तो जाने विद्या का हमको अधिकार दे माँ।
हे शारदे माँ, हे शारदे माँ, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ।
हे शारदे माँ। श्वेत वर्णी कमल पे विराजे, हाथों में वीणा मुकुट सिर पे साजे।
तू श्वेत वर्णी कमल पे विराजे, हाथों में वीणा मुकुट सिर पे साजे।
मन से हमारे मिटा दे अंधेरा, हमको उजाला का परिवार दे माँ।
मन से हमारे मिटा दे अंधेरा, हमको उजाला का परिवार दे माँ। हे शारदे माँ, हे शारदे माँ, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ।
हे शारदे माँ।
Now I take the privilege to invite Dr. S.P. Singh, Dean Faculty of Education, Mahavir University, Meerut, to formally welcome our participants and set the tone for today's enriching session. Sir, you are most welcome to address the gathering.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Am I audible?
Yes,
Ma'am,
sir.
मेरी आवाज आ रही? Okay. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone.
Yes, sir.
Honorable,
Good afternoon, sir.
honorable resource person, esteemed guest, fellow academician, dear research scholar, ladies and gentlemen. I, Dr. Shivpal Singh, Professor and Dean, Faculty of Education, Mahavir University, Meerut, greet a very warm and heartfelt welcome to all of you this afternoon. It gives me immense pleasure as a convener of this 10-day national workshop on research methodology for research scholars in social sciences, jointly organized by the Mahavir University in collaboration with the Principals Association of Colleges of Education, PACE, to greet you all to this special first day session with our distinguished resource person. Today, on 19th November 2025, during this session from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., we are truly privileged to have with us an eminent academic leader, the Honorable Professor Sarabjit Kaur Ma'am, Principal of Guru Nanak College, Shri Muktsar Sahib, Punjab. Ma'am, we are deeply honored by your gracious presence and your willingness to guide our participants on a highly significant theme, preparation of the research proposal, preparation of research instruments, and conducting short research guides. These components form the backbone of any quality research endeavor, especially for scholars in the field of social sciences. A well-designed research proposal, valid reliability research instrument, and the ability to conduct short-term research study with methodology rigor are essential skills that very emerging researcher must develop. Your insights today will surely empowers our research scholars with clarity, confidence, and confidence to advance their academic pursuits. I also extend a warm welcome to all the participants from our different institutions of our country who have joined us in a hybrid mode. Your active engagement throughout this workshop reflects your commitment to strengthening research scholar and contributing meaningful to academic growth. I, I am confident that today's session will be a highly interactive, enriching, and practically useful to all of you. Before we begin, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to the organizing committee, PACE, and our dedicated faculty members for their continuous support in making this national workshop academically vibrant and impactful. Once again, I warmly welcome our esteemed resource person and all participants to this afternoon's session. Let us look forward to an enlightening and insightful academic experience. Thank you. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Thank you so much, sir, for your warm and motivating words. Next, I request Anushri ma'am, Assistant Professor, Faculty of Education, Mahavir University, Meerut, to introduce our Honorable Resource Person, Professor Dr. Sarabjit Kaur ma'am. Anushri ma'am, over to you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Jai Hind and very good afternoon to everyone. I am Anushri Verma, Assistant Professor, Faculty of Education at Mahavir University, Meerut. Today, we are honored to welcome Professor Dr. Sarabjit Kaur ma'am, a principal of Guru Nanak College, Muktasar, Punjab, a distinguished academician and a celebrated leader in the field of education. She is an elected fellow of Punjab University, Chandigarh, and has also served as an elected member of the university syndicate. With deep expertise in research methodology, educational technology, guidance and counseling, emotional intelligence, and spiritual intelligence, Dr. Kaur holds multiple postgraduate degrees, MA in political science, Punjabi and sociology, along with MAd and a PhD in education. She has guided four PhD scholars, attended more than 80 national and international conferences, published 10 books, and contributed widely as an editor, curriculum developer, resource person, and developer of standardized psychological tests. Dr. Kaur is also the recipient of several prestigious awards, including the Eminent Educationist Award, USA and India, Best Leadership Award in Canada, and multiple Best Teacher and Outstanding Leader honors. In today's workshop, Dr. Kaur will be guiding us on preparation of research proposal, preparation of research instruments, and conducting short research studies. We are privileged to have her with us, and we look forward to gaining meaningful insights from her vast academic and professional experience. Now over to Kaur ma'am, and the virtual stage is all yours. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Anushri ma'am. Thank you for the elaborative introduction. First of all, I would like to congratulate the organizing team of this 10 days national workshop on research.
Thank you, ma'am.
And-
Thank you very much.
And I express my sincere gratitude towards Dr. Shivpal Ji, Dean, Faculty of Education, Mahavir University, Meerut, and Dr. Devanandan KVG for providing me this opportunity to interact with all the participants through this virtual platform. Thank you so much, sir. May I start now, sir?
Yes, ma'am, please.
Yeah, may I have my PPT on screen, please?
Okay.
So, first of all, we will talk about how to prepare a research proposal. As we all know that conducting research is very much important, and a proper plan of your research proposal should be with you for a smooth journey and for making it comfortable and easy for our own journey, we need to have a research proposal. We all are well aware regarding research. So, a research proposal should be what it should include. Next slide, please. A research proposal, we all know that is a structured plan for a research project. Now, when we talk about a structure, we need to have each and everything in this plan so that we may pursue our research in a very dignified way. And for that purpose, we must be aware how important the topic is, how important the research is. And if we are taking the variables, then the variables should be in such a way that it's easy for us, it's feasible to conduct such a study in our surroundings. Since we are talking about research in social sciences, so the concept should be feasible. We should not take up any kind of such variables which is quite difficult to conduct research upon. So we need to have a thorough information regarding methodology of the study which we are conducting in our future. So for that purpose, we need to have a very sound and solid proposal with us so that we may conduct our research in a very easy way. Because we are having the research proposal with us, then it will help you to clarify the objectives, what kind of objectives you are having before conducting a research, because objectives is a kind of pathway that will help you to achieve your aim in your research. So the researcher must have specific research objectives in the proposal, because if you want to conduct a study on some variables before executing the objectives, you must plan a proposal. Now, let's see what is the purpose of preparing a research proposal. So, when we are preparing a research proposal, next slide, please, then the purpose should be very much clear in our minds. Number one, that the problem should be clearly defined. The kind of variables which you have taken, are they interrelated? There is some relation, there is some cause effect. This is just a kind of survey. What kind of study, what kind of research you are going to conduct, we need to define that problem very clearly. So for that purpose, we need to prepare a research proposal. Next, the thing is that how important is your research project? You need to justify that point, because if you are submitting a proposal to some funding agency, you need grant for that purpose. As now we know that ICSSR is open for all of us for applying for major and minor research projects. So you need to justify that why you want to conduct this study in that particular area, so that you may get sufficient grants for your proposal in hand. For that purpose, you need to explain how your research will be conducted. What are the phases of your research? It has 3 phases, it has 4 phases, it has 5 phases. You will plan accordingly as you will describe your objectives. And what kind of resources are required to conduct this study? And what would be the timeline to conduct this study that you need to write very clearly in your proposal, so that you may seek the approval of your funding agency. Once your proposal is approved, then it becomes quite easy for you to conduct that study in that particular frame. So that's why we always prepare kind of research proposals. Now, when it's with us that we are preparing a proposal, what are the key points that need to be kept in mind while preparing a research proposal? Let's have a look on our third slide, that is focusing on the key components of a research proposal. So the very first thing is title. Title of your research proposal should be very meaningful, because this is the only thing by which you can convince your funding agency, you can convince your approving agency or your institution, so that you may go ahead with your research work in future. So the title of your study, title of your research should be unbiased. You should select the variables very carefully so that you may execute it with your consistent efforts. Because when we are conducting a research, then it's not your ambition that matters, it is your passion that matters. And for that passion, you must have consistency, you must have energy, you must have sufficient time, you must have sufficient money with you to execute the research project. So you have to be very careful while selecting problem, while framing the title of your research proposal. So this is the very first thing where you need to focus your most energy, so that you choose very relevant variables that need your immediate attention for research in that particular field. And for that purpose, we need to provide introduction and background of that variable. So you need to explore lot of literature, lot of earlier research conducted on that variable, and lot of effort on pinpointing the gaps between the knowledge. So if you explore all these things, you need to explore the theory, you need to explore the research in that related literature, then you would be able to frame your title of research. When you frame your title of research, then you need to pose it right as your problem statement. When you are writing your problem statement, then you have to be very particular about your vocabulary, particularly the words, the grammar, and the statement which you are making. It will have a permanent effect in that particular field. So your words should be to the point and clear, grammatically sound, as well as unbiased. And the variables should be clearly stated, like independent variable, dependent variable, intervening variables, we all know. So the problem statement will take some time. Be patient, be consistent, and don't make any hefty choice while deciding your problem statement. Take your time, explore the literature, explore the theory, and I would suggest that never take up any research which has already been conducted and you're repeating the same. You should have a novel idea. Are you going to bridge a gap between the existing knowledge and the past knowledge? So, this is the basic task of a researcher, and you can do it very well with the help of your supervisor. But you need to put your efforts in exploring the actual variables on which you want to work upon. So, for that purpose, you need to write down some objectives of your proposal. Like when you frame the objectives, you know the behavioral terminology. Here in research, you need to have focus what kind of study you are conducting. So accordingly, if you are finding a relationship, then hypothesis will explore the relationship. You are stating any kind of difference, then their objective should be in consonance with that hypothesis. So you need to put your whole energy while framing your objectives in that particular proposal. Because once you have stated your objectives, then it will make your way for the journey. So it's like a road, it's like an earmarked pathway for your journey in research. So, objectives should be very much clear cut, very much grammatically sound, and very much unbiased language is required in framing your objectives. And on the base of those objectives, you need to frame some hypotheses also. So hypothesis will depend upon the theory and research available in your hands. If you are conducting any kind of research, you need to first collect a lot of related literature in that particular field, and then it would be easy for you to decide what I need to do further in this particular field. And when you get to know what you are supposed to do in that particular field, then it would be easy for you to write down your objectives and hypotheses. Now, the next is literature review. Literature review may be placed in that place after introduction, problem statement, objectives, research questions, hypothesis. But you need to go through the literature review first, because everything will depend upon your literature review. As I have told you earlier, that it is theory available as well as the research available. So you need to explore each and everything in that particular field. Then you must write the review in ascending order. You will start from the early and will come to the present. That what kind of researchers have been conducted in this particular field and what particular researcher have reported in that field. You need to locate the gap between the present research available and the theory available. In that gap, you will locate your own problem on which you can focus your energy. Now comes the methodology. So these are the key components on which we are talking while framing a research proposal. Your methodology should be very much clear. What kind of method you are using in that research proposal, whether that is going to be a survey method, that is a quantitative method or a qualitative method. Are you using questionnaire? Are you using interviews? Are you using some experimental design? So what kind of method you are adopting to collect data in your present research? That would be your methodology. So what kind of design you will be using? If you are using experimental design, then would it be a pure experimental design? Would it be a quasi experimental design? Which kind of design you will choose, that will be the part of your methodology while writing a research proposal. Because your method will decide how much time you need for conducting this research. If you are conducting a experimental research, then obviously you need much time. If you are conducting survey, then the time would be quite less than that of the experimental design. So here you need to focus what kind of variables you have taken, and accordingly you will take up your methodology. And while deciding the methodology, you will keep some ethical considerations in your mind. Whenever you are approaching your sample, you need to have their consent. You must inform your sample that you need such kind of data, you are going to gather this data. So that would be part of your methodology, the kind of questionnaire, the kind of interview, or the design you are adopting. So the ethical considerations must be part of your methodology. And if you are conducting a research, you must show the respect for your sample, for the persons who are involved in that research journey. Then you need to maintain the privacy of all the data which you have gathered during your research. You need not to make it public, because the purpose of your research is to collect data, and on that basis you are going to journalize the results for the society in a particular area. So you need to ensure the privacy of the data. Then you should be very much responsible in handling in that data. So this is all part of your methodology when you are adopting a certain kind of methodology. And the last is that you must avoid any kind of bias. It may be social, it may be cultural, it may be any kind of bias, because research is always unbiased, research is always scientific, research is always uh, based on the data. Whatever you have collected, you need to report the same data in your report. So while framing your research proposal, you have to be very particular in these aspects. Then the next component is your budget and timeline. As I have told you in the beginning that you need money for conducting any kind of research, because when you are conducting any survey, you must be using some questionnaires. You need to get the copies of your questionnaire xeroxed from some machine. For that purpose you need budget. For analysis you need budget. For traveling you need so it depends upon your nature of variables, what kind of variables you are taking up in your research, and how much budget is required in that research. So you need to decide each and everything, even a single penny that has to be used in your research. You need to decide each and everything while preparing your research proposal. Because if you are submitting it to ICSSR or some other corporate business house under their CSR projects, so you are expecting some kind of grant, then you have to be very particular regarding the budget as well as the timeline. Because when we are submitting it to some funding agency, then we need to keep in mind that it has a time limit when they allow you some kind of research in a particular field. So the deadline should be there, the date of start should be there, and the total procedure must be fragmented into the timeline, and a time chart should be shown in your research proposal, so that you may uh, let the funding agency know what is your timeline, how much time is required in conducting your research. In the last part of your research proposal is references. What kind of material you have quoted in your proposal, that particular source should be cited in your references. That may be in any format. We will discuss this format later on, because we are discussing construction and standardization of tools and each and everything. So we will come to this point again in our next part also. Now, while preparing this research proposal, the various things which we have discussed in this part, we will come to each and every part in some detail. When we talk about the title of the study, how should be the title of the study? The title should be very much clear, very much concise, and it must describe the situations as they naturally occurs without any kind of manipulation with the variables. So your title should be very much clear and concise. It must reflect the main variables. If we want to locate which is your independent variable, which is your dependent variable, which is your intervening variable, so the arrangement of all the variables in the title of the study must reflect itself. Like if you look at the example, impact of social media usage on academic performance of UG students. So here you come to know which is your independent variable and which is your dependent variable. Here we have an idea that social media is the independent variable and academic performance of UG students is the dependent variable. That will, the first will affect the second one. So while framing your research proposal, while preparing your research proposal, your title should be very much crystal clear. Now comes what should be included in the introduction and background. Next slide, please. So the introduction and background. Next slide, please. The introduction and background will include the present context of the study. Okay, what you are taking up, what you have taken up, what do you mean by the set variables? It will explain the significance as well as the relevance of that particular variable. Okay, why this is important and very much urgent to opt for this kind of research in this particular field so that you may fill the gap. You must narrate each and everything very clearly in your introduction and background that there is gap between the past and the present and you need to fill that gap, and for that purpose you need to conduct this kind of research in this area, and you logically comes to the announcement of the problem statements. Then it will start with your background and introduction that will lead to the introduction of the problem statement. It should be logically arrived at. So while framing, while preparing your research proposal, you need to focus upon these points. Now, what exactly problem statement must include? The problem statement must include the issue or the gap that the study will address. Because this is the statement, this is the title, this is the problem, this is the variable. The word may be any, but this is the title of your research proposal. So, next slide, please. So, the gap which this study will fill should automatically be there in your problem statement. It should be very much specific and it should be feasible. Like if we assume a few things that are not feasible, then it would be very hard to conduct research in that particular field. If you take some physical form, you can measure that form, but if you take some uh, psychological or emotional variable, then it's quite difficult to measure that variable because it depends upon the measurement tool. Okay, what kind of tool you would be using to collect your data, that will affect your quality of research. So your problem statement should be very much specific and it should be researchable so that you don't feel any kind of problem during the journey. For example, limited evidence on how daily social media usage influences students' learning outcomes. Now, if you look into the institute where you are working, where you are studying, do you have any kind of such study with you? If not available, then you can conduct the research in this particular field. So, what kind of study you are conducting? It must be reflected in your problem statements. Now, when your problem statement is ready with you, you must have some kind of objectives with you, and those are called research objectives. Now comes the research objectives. You must have a broad objective with you. That would be your journal objective. Particularly, this is not used in field of education, but in few social sciences subjects this is used. So when you are conducting research on social media, you must have a journal objective with you. Then you can come to some specific objectives. Those would be the targeted outcomes, and those objectives should be measurable, as I have already told you. Now, while framing these objectives, you can use the action verbs. This will determine, this will compare, this will evaluate, this will identify, the kind of statements which you need to frame in your objectives must be very much clear, that you are going to find out a relation, you are going to find out a difference, you are going to compare with one thing to the other. So what kind of actions you are taking in your research journey, those should be very much clearly stated under your research objectives. So this is what we have discussed in your first part, that was the introduction and background of your research proposal. Now comes the second part of your research proposal, that is the literature review. This is very much important in a proposal because I have already discussed that this is the literature available in theory as well as in research that will help you to decide your further journey in that particular area. So, you need to summarize the existing studies. What kind of studies have already been taken in past, and what are the outcomes? You need to summarize all those studies. If a particular study has been taken on a particular variable, then you need to make an analytical review of all those studies, and you need to put that review in your present proposal so that the agency concerned or the institution concerned comes to know what you have done, what kind of research is available, and why you are justifying the gap or the contradiction. Sometimes we need to re-verify a few things, so we conduct the research again in those areas which sometimes create some kind of confusions or contradictions. So do you have any kind of contradiction in your present literature? You need to highlight that contradiction. If you feel that there is some gap between the theory and the practice and you are going to fill that gap, you need to write each and everything in this review of your related literature. Then the next point is that how it is relevant to your research, because you need to correlate all kind of review, all kind of literature that is available with you in a logical and scientific way. So the analysis should be done in such a way that it highlights the relevance to your research. Then when you are presenting the related review, it should be very much well organized and it should be properly referenced. As I have told you, that it should be presented in ascending order, starting from the past and coming to the present. So, this is the second part. If you put up your energy on this part, I'm 100% sure that you won't face any kind of problem in your research. When we don't focus on the literature of the review, then there are so many confusions in our minds, and sometimes we really feel fed up and we just don't want to continue that research. And if you want to make it an enjoyable journey, then you need to put your time and energy for the review of the related literature. So next part comes, that is the methodology. So when we are preparing a proposal, then you must have solid research design with you. You should be very much clear which design you are using. Whether you are using qualitative design as we use it in experimental studies, that is quasi experimental, true experimental, pre post design, only post design, whatever design you use, you must be very much clear what to use, why to use, how to use. These are the three aspects which must be very much clear in the mind of a researcher. When these three aspects are clear, then it's quite easy for you to justify in your vivas, in your presentations, that what you are using, why you are using, and how you are using. So it covers the major part of your research. Then you need to justify if you're using quantitative method, do you use some kind of surveys, or you are blending the both, quantitative and qualitative. So we'll use a mixed approach. What kind of design is suitable for your present research? That should be main part of your research proposal. So in this design, you will specifically write down about the population, because when you are conducting research, you need to conduct research on that particular population as you have defined it in your objectives. So from a population point of view, it's very difficult for a beginner or a researcher to study the whole population. Like, we do cooking, but we don't swallow the whole item. We just take up a spoon out of that population and taste it, and we come to know whether the dish is ready or not. So, similarly, as your sample, when it is not feasible to study the whole population, we take up a proportion that is the representative of the whole population, and we conduct a research on that particular selected sample. So in your this part of your proposal, you have to be very much sure which is population for your present research and which kind of sample you will select in this particular research. So the kind of sampling And the method of sample selection should be very much clear in the mind of the researcher, and the same should be very much clearly written in your proposal. Because once sample is decided, then comes the data collection. Because data collection is the main crux of your research proposal. Because everything depends upon your data. The kind of data which you have selected, which you have collected through your instruments, should be representative of the whole population. It should not be biased. It should not be partial. So you have to be very much careful while selecting your sample and while collecting your data. Now for data collection, which technique you are using, whether you are using some questionnaires. If you are conducting some surveys, you will use some questionnaires. They may be scaled questionnaires. You may conduct some interviews. You may collect data through experiments, and you may collect data through observations. So how you will collect data, you need to define. There are many methods of collecting data, but which method is suitable for your present research? That is the task which researcher need to identify first. So when the whole data is collected, that comes under your control. When you collect the data, then comes the question how data analysis would be conducted. So it will depend upon the nature of the data collected by you through the design. If your data is quantitative, you need to analyze the data with statistical tools. If you have collected qualitative data, then you need to apply some qualitative approaches also. And if it's both, then you need to apply mixed approaches for data analysis. So what kind of qualitative, quantitative tools you will analyze for your data analysis, that should be very much clear in your proposal. In what kind of instruments and tools you have used for data collection, whether those are standardized, locally standardized, globally standardized, generally standardized, what kind of tools you have used, whether they are not standardized, locally constructed. So this should be clearly written in your research proposal. Sometimes we see that the data was collected through a tool which was constructed 50 years back. If you go to your psychology labs or some other labs, then you will find that there are some learning questionnaires, there are some intelligence questionnaires, there are some personality questionnaires which were constructed in past, but still researchers are using. Are they valid to collect data in present scenario? Sometimes we find it difficult to use those tools. So here researcher must be aware that how these tools can be constructed. That is part of our next presentation. So we will discuss in detail in that part. So it should be part of your proposal, that what kind of tools you have used in collecting and gathering information in your research. Now comes when you are collecting data from a particular sample or a particular population, then there are some ethical considerations which need to be kept in mind by the researcher. So, what are those ethical considerations? I have told you informed consent should be there, confidentiality should be there, then voluntary participation, and the last is ethical clearance if applicable. Sometimes you need to have some kind of approval from a review board if you are collecting some sensitive data. So you need to first obtain the ethical clearance from that board so that you may collect the data. Next slide, please. And then comes our budget. So this is the main part of our research proposal. If you are getting some help from an agency or some corporate house or some ICCR, etc., then you need to have a solid outline of your budget. And budget will include all these items which are presently on your screen. That is the materials. What kind of materials would be required for your research, and who will supply all those materials to you? If you need to travel somewhere, then your traveling allowances. If you need some kind of software, because in some researchers you need to have some equipments, so you need to categorize each and everything. If you need some kind of helping hand to conduct this research, because in minor and major projects you may appoint some kind of personnel with you as a research associates. So what kind of financial load you would be having in this research, that should be the part of your proposal, so that the funding agency comes to know, okay, how much grant for which purpose is required. Then comes your timeline. You will provide a Gantt chart with uh, in your research proposal. Next slide, please. That will include your activity schedule. And Gantt chart is a bar chart that displays the task involved in that project. That will shows the start and end dates of that project. That will help to know the duration of each task, and interrelatedness of variables are also depicted in this activity schedule. So you need to plan this schedule with you, and it will include your proposal development, your data collection, your analysis and reporting. As I have already discussed, that timeline and budget is very much needed in any kind of research proposal. Then comes, okay, what would be your outcomes of this research proposal? Because when you are convincing an agency, you are convincing an institution that allow you to conduct your research. So you will justify that what kind of contribution this project will add to the existing knowledge. Would you be able to develop any kind of theory? So when we look into the longitudinal studies, then there is a scope that we may develop any kind of such we may generate such knowledge over a longer period of time that may be valid and that may be applicable in that particular area. So what kind of expected outcome may be possible that has to be written in your research proposal? And then if you are conducting the research and it is having some practical implications, it may be in your classroom, it may be in your laboratories, it may be in administration, it may be anywhere where your research is connected. So what kind of practical implications are expected? So that would be part of your uh, research proposal when you will submit your report. And what are your possible recommendations for executing all those implications and all those uses? You will clearly recommend each and everything in your research proposal. And then last part of your proposal is very much technical and very much as per the available format. So for referencing, you may use, mostly in India, we use APA. When we use this APA, then there is a particular format of citing any kind of book, any kind of research, any kind of paper, and any kind of journal, so that you ensure the credibility and relevance of each help that you have taken from any kind of source that should be part of your research proposal, so that you may justify the kind of help which you have taken from other sources to create this research proposal for your research in your hand. So this was the first part, how you should prepare a proposal of your research that you may get it sanctioned from any agency or any institutions. So these are the technical things which must be kept in mind while preparing any kind of research proposal by any researcher under the supervision of your guide or the supervisor. So with this, we complete our first part, that was preparation of a research proposal. If you have any query, any question regarding this part, you may just float a message in your box so that I may answer your questions or queries later on. Now comes the second part of today's presentation, that is preparation of research tools for research. So I request to have the PPT of the second part, that is related to the preparation of research tools for research. Shipal sir, may I request you to have the second PPT on screen, please?
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
May I continue or should I need to take some?
As you wish, ma'am.
I may continue, sir. I may continue.
Okay.
So whenever we are conducting any kind of research, we must have valid tools with us. Now, how to create those tools, how to validate those tools, this is a difficult question for a beginner. So we are here to help you, okay, how to create the research tools for your task in your hand. The very first thing which should be kept in mind is define what you want to measure. So that would be decided by the variable, because your variable will decide what you want to measure. For example, in education, we measure we measure intelligence. We assess personality. Now I have used two words. We assess personality, we measure intelligence. When we talk about intelligence, it's a mental process. When we talk about personality, it's holistic. So, is it really possible? Next slide, please. Is it really possible that we can measure personality with an inch tip? No. When we have such kind of dilemma, then we need to be very sure what we want to measure. So, what we want to measure, now the second step comes how to measure. It will help what we want to measure and how to help, both will help us to construct our tool, to choose our tool, to use our questionnaire, whether self-constructed or standardized. But clarity should be there in the mind of the researcher. So for that purpose, you need to again come to your variable, which you have already selected, because we have already discussed the various parts of research proposal. Now, some interrelated concepts will repeat. So if there is any confusion, have a flashback into the last presentation made by me, then you will come to know clearly what we are talking about. So when you identify your variable, for example, I quoted that use of social media and effect on academic performance of undergraduate students. Now, if you are going to collect some data on use of social media, what kind of tool you are supposed to prepare, variable will decide. Now, how that would be conducted, for whom it has to be conducted, your participants will decide. I have said UG students, it may be PG students, it may be school students, it may be any. So when you are going to select your tool, you are going to construct your tool, you need to explore the relevant literature. The very first thing is, when you are constructing some tool for your research, you must be well aware regarding the availability of the already existing tools. Next slide, please. First, you need to find out existing validated tools. What kind of tools we are already having, as I have discussed in review of literature also in the first part. Okay, there is always in theory, there is always research available, but we need to go through, we need to analyze, then we come to the our need of research. When we locate our need, then we come to know, okay, what kind of tool is required and what kind of methodologies has already been used by the previous researchers. How I can align my tool with the theory, because theory is there in your books, theory is there in your libraries, but sometimes tools are not available. For example, when I took up my research in 1998, in India, there was no research tool for emotional intelligence in India at that time. So I borrowed books from America by Daniel Goleman on emotional intelligence, and then simultaneously on spiritual intelligence too. And in alignment with the theory, we constructed our own psychological test on emotional and spiritual intelligence. So, when you are going to construct your tools, you must be well versed with the theory. Because when theory is clear in your mind, then you can construct your own tool. If construction is not required, then you can choose the appropriate research tool which is already available in your surroundings. You just need to locate the source from where you can get it issued, you can purchase it, and you can use it in your present research. Next slide. So, your task comes to choose the appropriate tool. Now, so many tools are available in your surroundings. So many questionnaires are available, but you need to be very much clear which kind of questionnaires are required in your study, in your research, because you have age norms, you have some other conditions for any kind of research tool. So you need to be well aware what is your requirement, as I have stated in my first slide. So accordingly, you will choose the most appropriate tool, and it will depend upon the nature of your study, quantitative or qualitative or mixed. So we'll use the best tool, whether that is questionnaire, whether that is interview, or you need to observe a few events if you are using some mixed methods in your study. So whether you need to conduct some test, or you need to make some kind of rating, or you need to have some kind of documents, guides with you, or you are using some digital online tools, because this is era of AI, probably going to transform in SI in the coming days. As I have it's artificial intelligence, it's converting into synthetic intelligence. That is a broader concept. So if you are using some online tools, Google Scholar is there, Semantic Scholar is there, A Minor is there. When you go to for A Minor is a database of academic publications, authors, and it's good for trend analysis, finding experts, and mapping research. And many other tools are also available online. So, which tool is suitable for your present research, that you need to choose very carefully. So, if you are having problem in the existing tools and you need to construct your own tool, then what are the things that need to be kept in mind by a researcher? So let's have a look in the next slide. Number one, you should develop a draft for the tool. And while constructing any tool, your questions should be very much clear. You should not use any kind of double-barreled words that has two meanings, double meanings. So your language, as I have told you, that it should be grammatically correct. and it should be very much clear. No vague words are allowed in any questionnaires. So first thing is this. Then the items should be sequenced in a logical way. If it is a difficulty level, then from simple to complex. If it is something else, then they should be correlated in a logical way. The sequence should be lower to higher level. And if you are preparing such tool, then there should be some instructions regarding that scale on the very first page of your tool. As we use many tools, so we go through the instructions given by the authors, and accordingly we follow the instructions and we complete the task and get the data collected. But if you are developing your tool yourself, then you have to be very careful that it should be a valid tool. Next slide. It should be a valid tool. Now, what kind of validity is required? The very first thing is that content validity. The kind of content. If you are using a questionnaire on social media, then all the questions should be directly, indirectly related to that concept only, that variable only. If you are constructing it for academic performance, then that questionnaire should include each and every aspect of that particular area only. So whenever you are constructing a particular questionnaire, a particular test, you need to ensure content validity first. Then distribute it among the experts. Then you will receive some feedback. And when you receive feedback, and kindly ensure that never ever give the physical form of the test to anyone by hand. Whenever you prepare something, mail it on the mail ID of the expert and receive the feedback from the concerned expert through the email only. It will help you to generate some authentic sending and receiving information which is required in a research proposal. So it should be very much transparent when you distribute it in the physical form by hand. Then sometimes you may face some kind of objections later on, and it would be quite difficult for you to ensure that you have done it in a very proper procedure. So based on the feedback received from the expert, revise it, and then you supposed to conduct a pilot test. Next slide, please. So when you are using on a small sample, that is the pilot testing. So in that group, you come to know, is there any language problem? Is there any meaning problem? Is there any difficulty? So the sample selected for that pilot test will give their own feedback. If you find it that you have any kind of ambiguity in your test or questionnaire, then you will remove that word from that questionnaire or test. So if no problem is faced by any of the respondent in that test, then clarity and the given time is appropriate, then you need not to make any kind of changes. If there is any misunderstanding, you intended to measure something else and the receiver is responding in a different way, if there is any kind of misunderstanding, then you will assess that misunderstanding and then will remove from the test. So you will ensure that this test is reliable and this test is valid. Then you need to apply a few techniques for this reliability and validity so that you may have a good research tool with you. So there are many techniques by which you can ensure the validity and the reliability of a test. So these are the techniques which can be used. If you have less time, you may use split half method to ensure the reliability of your tool. If you have good enough time with you, then test retest method can be used. And for content validity, we have already discussed. And if some already existing criteria is there, then you can calculate this validity also. And it should look like a test. It should not look like something else. So if you are naming it questionnaire, it should look like a questionnaire. So that is the face validity. So while preparing, while constructing, while standardizing, you need to keep in mind that your tool should be valid as well as reliable. If you repeat the same test after a gap of time, then results should be the same as in your first attempt with a minor marginal difference, as we always look into. So, after following the whole procedure, you may modify if there is any unclear items. You may adjust the wording and the order, and you may translate any item if required. I think slide is not there, Shivpal sir.
Yes, ma'am. Cited.
Then you may prepare the administration guidelines, that is also known as the manual. So there are standard procedures, there are scoring instructions, there are ethical considerations. They are all shown on the first part of your test. So you need to uh, add on all these things. In the last is the documentation. When you prepare a test, then you need to transform it in a document. That would be a test manual, and purpose is there, development procedure is there, and how you have ensured the validity and reliability, and what is the value of that reliability. You need to add all those things in your that test booklet, and how many items are there and how scoring can be done. This is the final draft which you will be having after your construction and standardization procedure, and that can be used by you as well as some other researcher in that particular field. So with this, we come to the end of the second part, that was preparation of research tools for research. And now we are coming to the last slide, that is conducting short duration research studies. So if you have any queries, any questions, kindly float it in the message box. I'll answer at the last. Now comes, okay, what are short duration research studies? Short duration research studies are those which are completed within days to months, like we conduct action research. And they are used for pilot testing, rapid assessment, and in some operational researches. And Characteristics of such short duration studies are: it has a limited time frame, it is a very focused research question, and the sample size is very small. It has a very simple methodology. Data collection and analysis is very rapid in this short duration studies. And we need such kind of short duration studies when we need to have a very quick decision making and we have very limited funding, and uh, these studies are conducted when we need to have some early stage exploration, and when something is already existing and we need to make intervention refinement, then we use such short duration studies. And while conducting this short duration studies, the key steps which need to be kept in mind by any researcher is: define your problem very clearly and formulate a focused research question, then choose the appropriate study design, develop tool and protocols, then do the data collection very rapidly, and immediate analysis is required, and quick reporting is required in this short time uh, research studies. And for making it focused, you should keep it narrow and measurable, and you may use the frameworks like PICO and FINER. PICO means population intervention comparison outcome, and FINER is feasible, interesting, novel, ethical, and relevant question should be part of your this study. And in this short duration studies, you may select cross sectional surveys, short case studies, rapid assessment methods, small randomized trials, pre post assessment, then observation based studies can be conducted under this head of short duration researches. Then, when you are conducting, you need to have proper planning for such studies. You should have a very much clear objective. You should have very simple data collection tools, and timeline should be very feasible. Variable should be very much limited because it should not be lengthy in any kind, since the title is already there as we have short duration. So the sampling approaches, you may use convenient sampling, you may use purposive sampling, you may use small random samples. But in spite of all, you must ensure representation. Whatever you are using doesn't matter, but your sample must represent its population. And for data collection, you may use some online service, like these days we are using Google Sheets. Then you may conduct phone interviews, then you may have direct observations, you may have short questionnaires, then secondary data extraction may also be used in such studies where data is already there and you just interpret. Then for data analysis, some simple statistical tools need to be used. Descriptive statistics can be used. Basic inferential test may be used if needed, not always. And qualitative quick coding themes may be allotted. And tools like SPSS, Nivivo, or Excel correlation that can be used. And for ensuring the quality, you must have training, and you must have standard operating procedure, and you must have consistent measurement tools with you. And again, the same things as we have discussed in our major research proposal, that the data must be very much kept in confidentiality, and safety of the participants must be ensured, and burden should be the minimum, and consent must be taken before taking any kind of collecting any kind of data. And for reporting, you may prepare a summary of the same, you may prepare the key findings, you may prepare the actionable recommendations, and fast track dissemination of uh, fast track dissemination of the briefs, presentations, memos may be ensured in this short duration studies. Shivpal sir, PPT is not visible. Yeah, actually, host is having the PPT, so I don't have the admin controls now, so I am not able to share. And some challenges are there. Time limitation is there, then limited sample size, how to decide, resource constraints are there, bias risk is there. Then in this particular research, we find difficulties in generalizing the findings. So these are the challenges for short duration researches. And for the successful execution of this short duration projects, I think your research question should be the narrow and clear cut one, and you should use already existing standardized tools, and if possible you may delegate the roles clearly, and you need to track the progress on daily basis, so that your timeline may be properly followed. And examples, if I share with you, then it can be conducted through mobile app, like you need to give some reminder to a person, and this study can be conducted in 2 weeks, 1 week, or 4 weeks. And method can be used that 50 user survey may be used, and the outcome may be like user experience may be the outcome, and its output will be the recommendations that whether that is uh, useful or not for that particular population. So these short duration studies are very powerful for rapid insights, but they require focus, efficiency, and simple methods. And this is very much ideal for early stage research and operational work in any field wherever required. But the researcher should be very much clear with the objective of the study. When the objective of the study is clear, then you will delimit it in aspects of your budget, in aspects of your timeline, or in any other thing which is required. We with this we come to end of this part, and if you have any questions, the platform is open to you. You may unmute your
मैम का भी अटक गया है, नेटवर्क शो हो गया।
am I audible, sir?
मैम मैम इंटरनेट प्रॉब्लम की वजह से हम बाहर हो गए हैं।
अच्छा,
अब अगर एक दो लोग यहाँ से क्विट हो जाएं जूम ऐप से, तो फिर मैं इन हो सकता हूँ।
अच्छा, तो फिर मैं
अटेंडेंस
आपकी
कैसे
तरफ से एक
लगेगी क्विट हो
अनाउंसमेंट।
जाएंगे तो?
नहीं, वो तो मैं दोबारा से जोड़ लूंगा, केवल एक ही तो मेरी वजह से बाहर हो सकता है। मैं
ओके,
उसको
आई विल क्विट।
व्हाट्सएप पर लिंक भेज दूंगा।
ओके ओके सर, आई विल क्विट।
ओके ओके,
So my presentation is over. If any question, I'm here to answer your queries. And over to the host. Thank you.
थैंक यू मैम। अभी आप चाहें तो, अच्छा, थर्ड स्लाइड भी आपकी कंप्लीट हो गई क्या?
जी हो गई है।
मैं थोड़ी देर के लिए, इसमें इंटरनेट पूरे हमारे कैंपस का चला गया, इस वजह से सभी लोग बाहर हो गए, तो बहुत देर से कोशिश कर रहा था।
तो आप स्लाइड्स अपने पार्टिसिपेंट्स को शेयर कर देना बॉक्स
हाँ,
में।
मैं चाहूंगा कि 2 मिनट के लिए इसको चला देता हूँ, आप चाहें तो एक बार इसको देख लेंगे तो, और पार्टिसिपेंट्स के पास भी पहुंच जाएगी।
जी सर, आप चला दीजिए।
ओके।
Okay, please tell the relevance of single group experimental research. May I have the concerned person on screen, please? Because your question is not clear. You need to have some controlled group with you if you are conducting experimental research, because you need to compare the results of both the groups with respect to the experiment that you have conducted during your search. And if you have single group, how you will compare the results and how efficacy of your experimental will prove, and you won't be able to establish your hypothesis in which you must have written that there will be a relationship in this and this, and there will be a difference in this and this. You won't be able to justify. So you need to have minimum 2 groups for any kind of experimental. The one will be experimental group and the other will be the control group. I hope I have justified. If any query further, you may ask me.
Audience, if you have any questions, please you can ask.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Very good afternoon.
Ma'am, this is Anita Mehta. I'm a research scholar from the Mahavir University. I have a query, ma'am. Ma'am, actually, what if I am choosing an area of research where nothing exists in the form of, in a written form, like if I have to go to a literature review, then how should I go with the research ahead?
Your name, please?
This is Anita Mehta, ma'am.
Anita, you are going to take up a research
topic.
The
Yes,
theory
ma'am.
will be available because nothing can be taken in isolation.
Yes,
So whatever idea you are having in your mind or in your surrounding, that would be theory based. As I have shared my own experience when I conducted EI and SI,
Yes,
nothing was available in India in research form, and we borrowed the books from America. So similarly, you will have the theory, and
okay.
on basis of theory, you may construct your own tools to conduct that research. But if theory is not available, then research is not possible.
Oh, okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Any other question, please?
Okay. There is a question, is it possible to conduct true experimental design in social sciences? No. In social sciences, true experimental design is not possible because true experimental designs are possible in science groups only, where you can control the variables. As we are dealing with the human beings, and it's not possible for us to control each and everything according to our own research. So, true experimental is not possible in social sciences. Quasi experimental design is possible in social sciences. Kindly share knowledge about analyzing secondary data. Now you are having so many magazines, so many newspapers, and so many sources where data is reported in one way or the other. So if you are collecting that source, and you may apply your own methods, that may be your content analysis, that may be your inferential statistics, where you want to conclude something from the already existing data. So you may apply some techniques for that particular data analysis, and results can be quoted anywhere by citing the original source from where you have taken that data. And so many researches are available these days through online form, where they quote the references and they put up the results for journal knowledge and journal awareness among the masses. So same can be applied in this also. Is single group pre-test, post-test is possible for experimental research rather than control and experimental? Yeah. If you are conducting experimental research, you must have pre and post-test design, because that will authenticate your findings, and it is quite beneficial for the researcher as well as the research project in hand if you take up pre and post experimental design, but control group has to be there for comparison. Any other, please? I think I have gone through all the questions and nothing is left. If anything is left, you may ask, please. So over to you, Dr. Shivpal ji. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. It's a wonderful session. A lot of things ma'am had described here. And I think there were 3 slides, very lengthy lecture today. And ma'am has described it successfully. And I had some problem, internet problem, but the session was continued. So thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Now over to Dr. Lokesh Kumar. Dr. Lokesh, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Wait 1 minute. Ma'am, I have designed a application letter for you. Please accept it. And I am sharing here. So please see it. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. आपने तो बहुत लेंदी एक लेक्चर यहाँ पर हमारे पार्टिसिपेंट्स के लिए दिया है।
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you.
अट्रैक्टिव था और इसमें नो डाउट कि आपने हर एंगल को टच किया। इसमें कहने की बात नहीं है कि आपने इतने सधे हुए शब्दों में अपनी बात रखी है और जो कि मैं देख भी पा रहा हूँ कि पार्टिसिपेंट को अधिक पूछने की आवश्यकता नहीं है, कोई कंफ्यूजन छूटे ही नहीं। हर एंगल से आपने मेरे एग्जांपल दे करके इसको एक्सप्लेन किया। सो मैम थैंक यू वेरी मच। प्लीज एक्सेप्ट इट। आई विल सेंड इन योर व्हाट्सएप।
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Highly obliged, sir. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for your kind words. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
And congratulations to all the organizing team, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Lokesh, sir.
To all the participants.
Over to Lokesh, sir. Dr. Lokesh Kumar.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, sir. Thank you. Respected today resource person, Professor Sarjeet Kaur, our workshop organizer. And dear participants, a very good afternoon to all of you. Myself, Dr. Lokesh Kumar, faculty member of Department of Education, Mahavir University, Meerut. As we come to know, as we come to the close of the second day of our 10-day workshop, it is my honor and privilege to deliver the vote of thanks. Today's season has been especially insightful, and for that we have our deepest gratitude to our esteemed resource person, Professor Dr. Sarabjit Kaur, Principal, Guru Nanak College, Sri Muktsar Sahib, Punjab. Madam, your lecture preparation of research proposal, preparation of research instrument and conducting short research studies has been truly enlightening. You have not only clarified the foundational principle of developing a strong research proposal, but also provided practical guidance on designing effective research instruments. Your comprehensive explanation of planning and executing short research studies has greatly enriched our understanding. And executing short research study has greatly enriched our understanding and equipped us with valuable tools that will certainly support our future research endeavors. On behalf of all participants, I express our heartfelt appreciation for your time, expertise, and dedication to nurturing young researcher. I would also like to extend my sincere thanks to workshop organizer Dr. S.P. Singh sir and coordinators whose tireless efforts have ensured the smooth conduct of this program. Your meticulous planning has made today's session both fruitful and engaging. To all the participants, thank you for your active involvement, thoughtful queries, and enthusiastic participation. Your engagement adds immense value to these sessions and motivates us to continue creating meaningful learning platform. Once again, I offer my profound thanks to Dr. Sarjeet Kaur for her invaluable contribution. We look forward to continued learning and inspiration in the days ahead. Thank you all, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Lokesh. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And I think this is a time for national anthem. Please wait 1 minute.
कौन रौला पाई जंदे सी वर्ची लाइन ते स्टैंड लाइन
विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
थैंक यू एवरीवन। मैम बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपका। बहुत ही लेंदी टॉपिक को आपने कवर अप किया और सक्सेसफुली। ये हमारे लिए बहुत ही सौभाग्य की बात है मैम। थैंक यू एवरीवन, थैंक यू वेरी मच।
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू जी,
थैंक यू सो मच सर।
थैंक यू।
थैंक यू
अगर किसी ने फीडबैक
थैंक यू सो मच सर।
थैंक
पाया
यू
है
मैम,
तो मैं
थैंक यू
आपको
सर।
शेयर कर दूंगा उसमें व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप पर। और बाकी नेक्स्ट क्लास आपकी नेक्स्ट डे है, एक दिन छोड़ करके, उसमें हम फिर एक नए रिसोर्स पर्सन के साथ में हम लोग जुड़ेंगे। उम्मीद है कि आपको इस वर्कशॉप से कुछ ना कुछ बेनिफिट जरूर हो रहा होगा। सो थैंक यू वेरी मच। थैंक यू।
Definitely, sir. And it is
Thank you, sir.
unorganized, so
Thank you,
it is
sir.
very good for us to adjust and attend the entire program. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you everyone. Thank you.